This conference will now be recorded.
Give me a second. Okay. Right. So, have you configured that Azure portal, everybody?
Yes.
So here, if you let's first go with the all the components and somehow, right? So if you see here on the left hand side, there is a portal menu, right? In the login. So here you have all the things, right? Yesterday I showed you that all services. You click on the all services, you will get different services. But it's not like by heart you need to remember all these things. When it is required and whenever you are using it, you just need to use that, right? And some are, let's say, some previews are there. You see, some services is preview. It is in the sense these are newly added to the Azure and it is still under the preview. You know the beta versions, right? Whenever any company is putting up that, so it is under preview. So same case here. What are the other options I have? I have other options here is that click on the dashboard. Okay, dashboard is something very interesting. Here, what happens is suppose I have created two things, right? One storage account. You understand? These are the resources, right? I can create a dashboard here. So let's try to just to understand what is this all about. Is create a dashboard here. So let's take I'm giving a name called test. Custom here. Now what happens is I can add items. So save it. Let's click on the dashboard again. Create. So what happened? Where I was, I was something happened on my dashboard. Option is getting changed. My dashboard is created as code. Then click on the custom dashboard. So here I can add, let's take the resource group. I want to first in this style I want to add the resource group here. And now I can add this. So what happens is this will make a dashboard view just like this. Smaller I will create this many spaces. Suppose again I want to add some, let's take from this one. So if if something I have a user in groups. So what is this all about is something like add. There is no user groups right now on my system. So these are the things I have. So this dashboard is something like let's see. So what happens is instead of going to the your each and every resource, suppose you have this many components in your project. So this is just like a visualization. You can come here, you can click on this dashboard. So you can go to the dashboard. One dashboard will available. You can just click on this and it will navigate to the where you are exactly wants to do that. So it's just like a navigation purposes. Okay, just like the power, which you can understand this as the power view visualization, where everything will be placed, or whichever you have or frequently use you are doing it, you can create a dashboard of that. Make sense? This is, and you can still edit it. You want to add anything here, you can still edit it. Whatever you want to edit from here, just create it. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Like,
So,
I mean, sorry, Samita. Here I have one question. I mean, like in the dashboard, we can see the services so many, right? Whatever services we are using frequently, those are going to be added in the dashboard.
whichever you want. It's not
I
like
mean, like,
all.
yeah, yeah. Not all. Whichever we frequently we used or required for.
Yeah, and all also can be placed. This is just for a quick navigation, I can say. Instead, suppose you want to go to the resource group, you need to click on here resource group and go there. This is one way to go it. Or suppose you have created a particular dashboard, right? It is easier to go from here. Just click on that, you can just navigate to that. This is just for the quick navigation, whichever your resources on whichever things. Like it's not all the resources, everything. When you done the ADF also, you can have the flows as well here. And from here you
Mhm.
can navigate directly. Make sense?
Mhm. Okay.
So,
Mm.
like, is it also for Power BI report?
No, it's not Power BI report. It
So
is not
then
at
there
all
is,
Power BI report.
so that
Huh?
dashboard is different. That dashboard is different from here.
In the sense, yes, the functionality will be the same. This is different. This is not a report. Don't take it as a dashboard. Dashboard is something like here you are presenting all your resources. What you are working on, you're just putting a quick navigation. It is something like
Mm-hmm.
your home page on your phone, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So quick, suppose you are using couple of apps on your phone, then how you are doing it for the quick navigation? You are doing something, right? In the front
Mm.
screen or something, you are putting few
Yeah,
app,
main.
which is,
Yeah.
yeah. So same scenario is like this one. So the quick navigation, we are putting some apps, we can say, or the resources, which we can easily navigate. That's it. Nothing else. This is not a visualization. It's not a. Its name is a dashboard, but it is not that Power BI dashboard. Okay. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm deleting this dashboard. This is not required right now for me. Okay, fine. And any other options I have here? Yeah. So yesterday I showed you the cost management also, which is required, but that is not maintained by you. This across the organization because this is our standard for profile. So we are using it, right? So how much amount, last bill amount, all these things it will be available for you, right? Okay. Now, and main thing, let's go to the home here. Okay. Let's go to the home page here. In the home, there is a in Microsoft Azure styles, right? There is a hierarchy system. Okay. What is the hierarchy system? The first hierarchy always it will be. Let's start with the management groups. Okay. Manage. Start like I can say how the hierarchy structure will be working, right? In Azure. The first level of hierarchy will be called the management groups. Okay. So here I don't have any management group because I am using the standalone system. But when you are working on a real-time project, okay, so that management groups will be available for you. That is something like you can use to manage your content. It's just like your who access what. That part is maintained here. So since I have a very limited resource, I have only one resource, right? So I'm not using that. But the next part will be the very important. Then management group, then it will come the subscription. Okay. In the subscription, it will be like pay as you go. For me, it is a pay as you go, but for you, it will be free services. Correct? Make sense?
Yeah.
So the first will be the management group. Second one is for the subscription. Then it will be your resource groups. Okay. So there will be a resource group will be there which contain all the resources. Suppose I have a resource group called Azure Practice which I created long back. If you click on that, I have this many resources I have. So I have some storage account, I have some Azure Data Factory, I have some database, everything. So one resource group can contains multiple stuffs. Okay. So the question would be that how many resource groups can be? There can be multiple. Okay. Depends upon the organizations. So how many resource groups? So, but one resource groups will have multiple contexts. Okay. This can be a database, it can be a storage, it can be a database, it can be a data factory, it can be data bricks, anything. So that's the way it will work. So how the hierarchy will be? The first will be your management groups where you are maintaining all the access system and all. Second is the subscription, how you are subscribing, whether it's a pay as you go or it's a normal one. Third is called the resource groups, which is the resource group. And under the resource group, all the resources will be available. All the Azure resources, whichever you want to create it. Make sense? This makes sense to you?
Hmm.
Any questions up to here?
Resources, nothing but the services. I mean, like whatever the softwares
Correct.
or something. Yeah,
Correct.
okay.
That's
In the management, what will come?
management is something like who access what? The management group.
Mm-hmm.
But here we don't have any user, right? We are single user.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's why the management group belongs to, and that will be not managed by you. So the main thing is sometimes you have inside the resource group as well. So there will be, suppose, let's take 20 different resources are available,
Mm-hmm.
but based on your profile, you will have like able to access only five. That's it. That
Okay.
depends how your access profile is there. And all these things, as I told, that is will be maintained by the Azure admin. You don't need to bother about that access part.
Okay.
Since we are working on a standard system, we are just looking into features. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Makes sense, right? Okay. Now what else we can have in the resource? Yeah. Let's so here I have already my management groups. I no need to create because I am a standalone. Subscription already we done it. Okay. Yesterday we done it. Now the time to create your resource groups. Okay. So there are two ways to create it. Either we can go to the home tab. Okay. On the left hand side, you can create the resource group. Click on the resource group. Click on the create, or sometimes in the home page itself only this will be there because these are the frequent use items. Okay. Resource group, because the we are just leveraging this concept, so it will be there here. Okay. And there are some recent activities also will be there, but best way to search, if you want to create a resource group, search it here. Everything will be here only. If you search with the name, it will come up. So I say resource groups. Fine. So there is already a resource group is there. Let's create a new one, and then from there we'll start it up. Make sense? So basically, the name which I have given this one, this is not the standard naming convention. I will tell you how to give a resource group when you are coming to a new environment. So the naming convention for a resource group when you are creating it, so that is will be your resource type. Okay. Then so the connection type, or the name of the file or whatever name, file name or something like that. Then environment, for which environment you are creating. Then the regions. I'll come to that. Okay. So Let's go to this file. Yeah, I have the file. So let's create a resource group now. Okay, let's create here. Now first thing first, it will check the subscription because the hierarchy is like that only. Hmm? Before to the resource group, the previous hierarchy is called what? The subscription, right? So automatically it is getting selected. If it is not selected, it is selected. Now you need to create a resource group name here. Okay. So always I preferred or industry preferred resource group always start with the RG. Resource group. Then hyphen. Suppose here I have actually a, I will tell you the file names and all. I have a different Excel file, CSV file, order data as I have. So I'm just creating a file that is called the orders or the sales order, something like that. I'm giving that name, orders. Then for which environment you are doing it, for the dev or the prod or for the UAT. So let's say go this for the dev. Okay. Now, next I told you that after that, the region. Environment you already done, the region. Region is something like what you are selecting from here. Okay. So here is a very tricky thing. What region you will actually select? Okay. Can you tell me what region you will select if I ask you for a basic question? If we scroll down, what region you will select here? Just a generic understanding. What you will select from
USA.
here, if I ask you? USA you will select which one?
I'll go with the east
Like
side.
Sorry,
uh,
go ahead, go ahead. Yeah. One by one, go ahead. Yeah.
I think I mean like the project which region we are working.
Which region? Yeah. So which out of this, which one you will select? I'm saying. Just tell
Like
me
I
the
mean
name.
some projects are I mean like suppose if you're working on EST time zone, we can select the EST like Central or Pacific based on that.
Is not depend upon the time zone. Never. It's a region.
Then
Uh,
then usually I mean like the location where we
Okay.
main something like company
okay.
or something there.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
What about others?
Yeah, depends upon the project. We can select from where it is. I mean, same as a silage. Depends upon the company.
But you have now the. It's your personal choice now. Which one you will select?
Okay, I'll select my east zone, sir. USA East.
Why?
I stay in east side, so so
Okay. What about you, Surabhi? But US or US2? Which one?
I don't know difference between both.
Okay, that's fine. There are two regions. Are there. Nothing. There
Mm.
is no difference.
Oh,
Okay. What about Surabhi? You? What you will select? If I ask you, it's your choice.
We have
Huh?
mm, sir,
There's an
US,
answer. I'm not looking for exact answer.
South Central US. I don't know,
Okay.
sir, what is it, but yeah, the South Central US.
You're staying in South Central. Are
Yeah,
you staying on South Central?
no, sir. Uh,
Then which region you are staying?
West.
West. Okay.
Yeah.
So see here, this is a very tricky thing. Okay. So the first thing first is your region is available where. Okay. So that's first thing first is it's his company decision that which region I will select it. But if I ask you personal opinion, like what exactly I need to select, wherever you are present, it should be that region because the data latency will be very less because you are working on the same region and you are selecting the same region, so the data flowing will be faster. But it's not actual always the case. But as you are working on the personal computers, you can select anything. Second, which is very important. Okay. Suppose you selected something like this. Let's suppose you are available on a West Europe region and you're just selecting this one. And you want to work with the Azure Data Factory. Right. What happen is few regions, some resources will be not available. So that also matters here, like which region, which resources we have. Because for some regions, Azure not provided particular resources or particular things that also available. So these are the two factors always we'll consider. But in our case, when we come to the real-time project or a company, there is a specific reasons will be there that will be selected. That's it. No need to question, no need to answer. Okay, make sense? So here, as my location will be southern India, so I will
Hmm.
select my this one. Okay, so that one. So I can say Asia, something like that. Name Asia South. This is my region. Then I can put the first resources I am creating this one. I can alias with the 001. It is not compulsory to do that, but you can still do that. Okay, this will the naming convention of your resource group. Always. What the resource RG is the resource group, the abbreviation of that. What exactly was storing? I'm storing the sales or orders, anything we can specify there. Then the environment, for the dev environment I can do. I can create another resource group for the UAT. I can create another resource group for the production also. Okay. Then your region.
Region.
And just for a sec, this is my first resource group. I can put 001. It is not compulsory to do that. You can do like this as well. This is also fine. Okay. But for my understanding, I'm just putting 001. Fine. This is the first one. Now click on the next. We'll go with the defaults here. We no need to put any tags and all right now. Then next review and create. Saying that the validation passed, create. Okay. Now if you see, now this one also see, you can pin to the dashboard. The dashboard which you created, or you can create something. Okay. It's just like the in the Power BI report, we have a pin option is there, right? Remember? Hello.
Hmm.
Mm,
Okay. Anyway, so this is your resource group. Now, if you go to this resource group, right now there is no resources available. Okay, because you have not created any resources right now. Right?
Okay.
Okay. So now let's start to create some basic resources here. Okay. So the first point first is like let's try to understand few things. So I first of all I don't have a data here. Okay. In the cloud, in the resource group, do you have any data? I don't have any data. Either data should be stored on a file system or data should be stored on the SQL or the database, right? Somewhere I need to store the data in the cloud first. Okay. That part is called the storage. So I need to store the data first of all. Then I can move it to here to here, whatever move. Okay. So for that, I need to create some storage accounts. Storage is something like the data storage. So here, let's create resource. This is clear, right? Resource groups. Any questions?
yes, yes, sir.
Very good. Okay. Now let's create the resources. So storage. Storage. So the storage, there are basically two types of storage are available in Azure where you are storing the file system and all. One is called the blob storage, and second one is called the data lake storage. Okay, right?
Hmm. What is the first one?
Blob.
blob,
Okay.
binary large object.
Okay.
Fine?
Hmm.
Okay. So now, the basically, let me try to put the pen. This is our job needs to be done. This is a small kind of project we'll start. So I should have a, this is my storage, first storage, let's do. Okay. So this is called the blob storage. Inside that, the name will be, the folder would be the lending. How to write this? But you need to remember, okay? Lending is a folder where I will store some files. Okay, multiple files I will store. Then from here, this is a blob, okay? Blob storage. We'll see how to create this. This is a blob storage. Then finally, from here, I want to transfer to the data lake. So here is called my data lake. Okay. In the data lake, I should have a proper format of the folder, of the hierarchy, I can say. The first one will be the raw. So raw is something like, raw is a folder, raw data. So whatever the data I have here, will just move it the same way to the raw. Okay. Then there will be another folder called cleansed. Then there will be another folder called structure. Then finally it will be the analytics. These are all folder structure. So just think like this is a folder, okay, on your system, and you are creating all the subfolders inside. Right? Make sense? So here we'll just load some data into this blob storage. Then finally we'll move to the data lake in the raw folder. From there will be cleans, will be massage the data. Then it will be the structured folder. It will be moved to the structure, and finally it will move to analytics. In this structured folder, where whatever the data we will store, we'll use for Power BI. Normally, this is a structure. I'm just giving a real-time overview that this is the way it will works. Okay? So from here, Power BI can connect and get the data and get the visualization. The analytics area you can use for your ML and the data science. Okay, so this is the way actually a normal project works.
Hmm.
Make sense? Now we'll see. Don't worry. Like
I
we'll
mean, like,
slowly do it. Mhm.
yeah,
Go ahead.
uh, in the cloud, this is the how the data will transfer.
Correct. That's correct. Now we are doing from one storage to another storage. Then
Hmm.
we'll see from the storage to the database again. Okay. We'll store it, and this is two types of storage. One is the blob, one is the data lake. So from here to where we'll transfer. Then from here to we can transfer to the database. That also we'll see it. Okay. So just give me a second. I'm just stopping for a here because I need to relocate my files. Just give me a second. Okay. So what my objective now is that, let me share my screen to you. So these are the files I have available. So this I will provide you this file. Okay. So there are different types of files I have. JSON file, text file, RK file. This is what you, if I ask you to pronounce this, what you will do? Parquet.
Rockets file.
No, not Parquet file. It's, you need to tell the Parquet file. Parquet. That's simple. Because there is a real time they will ask you that Parquet file. Can you give me the Parquet file? It's not Parquet, Parquet. This
Parquet.
is one of the extents. Huh?
What is that? Parquet.
Parquet. That's it. Then I have some JSON files also there. So this data I want to store inside to a storage. So let's go to this resource group, and we can directly come to the resource group and create something inside that. Okay, create resources, or directly you can write here the storage accounts. Okay. You can click on the storage accounts and you can create your storage here. Okay, so there will be different accounts will be there. So let's create a storage accounts here. So click on the create. Okay, so here my first will be my subscription. Okay, then second one will be the my resource group. So the resource group will be the one which you created, because everything will be inside that resource group. You understand the hierarchy now, right? Make sense?
Mhm.
Okay, now here you need to do your storage account name. Okay, what you will give the storage account name to? So always I will prefer like this. So storage st, okay. Then I'll say orders 001 is already taken. See, somebody has already taken. It is not like you taken it. Okay, somebody already taken. In the sense, across the globe, the storage account name, even the resource group name, and whatever the name you are giving, no, that is unique. If somebody has taken already, we can't take it. That is near to impossible. Let's start with 02. This is also somebody is taken. Orders. Let's start with that. That's fine. ST orders. I'm taking ST orders. Okay, fine. Now here the region. Again, region will come into picture. The region will be, again I'm selecting my the region which is close to me. Then the performance. Oh, this is already taken. Mm-hmm. Well, standard orders, storage history orders, items. Maybe this we need to test it out. Okay, what name you need to give. And finally, the performance. The performance is something like, as I told you that, like whatever you will choose, for that we need to pay the amount, right? So performance wise, if you are selecting the standard, so it is like the normal things, like normal performance where everything will be normal. But if you want the premium, in the sense the performance will be more faster, there will be no latency and all, right? So then you need to select the premium. And for that you need to pay the amount. So that's what. Whatever you are selecting and whatever you want to use on the cloud, based on that you need to pay them. Okay. And the second part is, I'll go with the standard approach now. Redundancy. Redundancy is very important. So here, if you click on that, there will be a local redundancy. There will be a geo redundancy. Okay. So I'm just pasting one link to you here in this one. You can just check it out. This the redundancy. I'll just cover it up now. I'm just clicking on a link here. Then now here, if you see, there are some pictures will be there. Azure storage redundancy. Okay. So if it is a local redundant storage, You're selecting the local redundant storage. Okay. Then the data will be stored like this. In the data center, you know the data center, right? Data center is something like is an office, secured office, where everything is getting stored. Right? From here only, you are getting the data is getting to the cloud, and from where you are getting the data. Make sense? So on that data center, if you are storing a storage account, then the whatever the data you are keeping there, there will be three copies will be stored on the same data center. Okay, this is called the local redundancy. Three copies of the same data. Why? Because somehow one copy of the data got deleted, then we have a choice to get the backup, no second copy, or the from the third copy. Make sense? This is called the local redundancy settings. Good. Are you good with this?
Yes.
Now the zone redundancy. Zone is something like in a data center, I have different zones. Okay. So suppose I will give an example of here. Let's take in India, right? We have in Mumbai, the Azure storage have the data center in Mumbai. Okay. In Hyderabad also is there, but in Mumbai we have a big center of the Azure. So there we have different availability zones. It's just like one center will be in A1, and the center will be A2, A3, and A4. Okay. So what will happen is if somehow one availability zone is getting down, is not accessible, then we can still access from the second one. Okay. So what will happen in the geo redundancy storage for the each availability zone on the same data center or different data center, one copies will be stored instead of storing all three copies on the same zone. Okay. So it will be scattered on different zones. So what will happen is, suppose I have just give an example of this. Suppose you have mm, here, let's take you stored one copy in US East and one copy you stored on the US East, okay, and one you stored in the US North Virginia. Fine. Three regions I have, three availability zones, and three copies are getting stored. This is very rare case, but suppose let's take tomorrow you are working on in US East is completely down. You are not able to access US East zone at all. Then you have a choice to switch over to the US North Virginia or US West to get the same data from the workbench. This is called the zone level or the zone level redundancy storage. Clear? Make sense? You
Yeah.
just go through this article. I'm just giving you that thing here. It is very clearly observable everything here. Okay. What is the this one and all these things. But these are the two pictures which is very clear what exactly a local redundancy storage and zero redundancy storage. But again, whatever you are storing it based on that you need to pay the amount because for you Azure is creating it to three copies of data. Just think of like that. Okay, so you have a 150 GB of data, three copies of different locations. So for that you need to pay the amount. Okay, so in this case we are not sure or like we are working for our personal purpose. So let's go with the local redundancy. Okay, makes sense. Now this is any questions up to here? We are good.
Yeah.
Anywhere you have doubt on this storage account creation? No, right?
No, sir. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
good.
Yeah. Click on the next.
Mm.
Yeah. Here, let's make it as a default. I don't want to touch anything here. The only thing I will touch later is called the hierarchy. Just remember this, okay? The hierarchical namespace, which is very important. Here is saying that when you tick this, when you check this, the storage will change to the data lake storage. The basic difference between your blob storage and the data lake storage is that one. In the blob storage, you can store into one folder only. So it is meant like something like this. I have a different folders right here, hierarchy. Desktop, data factory, customer orders, then customer orders. Then I'm storing the data. And in this folder also I can store some data. In this folder I can store some data. So this is called the hierarchical namespace. And this is an example of a data lake. Whereas in the blob storage, this is not possible. One folder, the parent folder will be there, and then that folder only will be stored everything. That is called the blob storage. So here, this option is I'm not enabling because right now I'm creating the blob storage right now. Okay, so I will not disable that. I will not create in that one. Let's understand this. So then after this, I will create another storage account. That time I will do it. Okay. Now this leave it the default. So 1 second. Sorry for that. So now we'll go the default option, and very important is this one, the access triad. The access tier. So there will be two access tier will be available. One is the hot and one is the cool. Okay. So suppose you are using this storage account. Okay. So it's just like day you are using it using the different scenarios. Then you can use the hot tire. Otherwise, it will be cool tire. So what will happen is again, if the hot will be available, right? The Azure will allocate some high availability systems. Okay, it is like more RAM, more CPU, everything will be there if you selecting the hot. So that what will happen, your performance will be faster, and you need to pay the amount as long as that. But if you are setting the cool, you are you will get some less configured system where all these things will be stored. Okay, but that again that depends what you are selecting. In this case, doesn't matter for us. Okay. Now I will. You got this point, right? Let's start hot and
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Now the next option is called the networking. I will not touch anything on the networking here. Okay. I will make it default. Data protection. I will make it default. I will not using anything. Encryption. I'm not doing anything. Next text. I'm not doing anything. Finally, I will do a review. So it is running the final validation, and once it is validated, it will ask you to create it. Okay, so if you create it, it will just create some storage account. Okay, so it takes some names. Okay, is there order item? Some names it will taken because there was no order item, something like that. So now, if I ask you, let it, it's not completed. It's still in progress. It will take 1 minute maximum. So once this is done, we'll be under the resource group only. Okay. Then we'll see the hierarchy. Okay. I think it is done now. Okay. Now I can close it out. I can go to the home. I can go to the resource groups. Okay. And I can click on this resource groups. And if you see, there will be a like this. It's really good. Yeah. Now if you see, does resource group contain a storage account? Right. This is the hierarchy we're doing. Makes sense? This is right. Now if you click on this storage account, you'll have multiple options. Okay. So there are different types of storages are there. One is blob, security, all this. We'll see that. But we are talking about how to store any data inside the storage. Just remember that inside the storage, if you want to store any data, that is stored as a containers. So on the storage account, there will be a containers available. These are the different stories, but containers. Click on the containers. In the containers, you can create some containers here and you can store some data here. Okay. So as per our things here, we are creating a landing container, which is nothing but a folder on the blob, and we are storing the data, right? That's what the first objective behind this. So we created a blob storage, which is nothing but this storage item, the storage account. Inside that, I will create container here, and I will say this is called a landing. And this is one more thing I didn't told you. We can't put a capital letter, okay, while some naming convention. We need to put a small one, okay. And access level, again, this is very important. Suppose you want to private one, you want to make more specific. Let's go with the private now. Let's create a landing, and it will create a folder kind of structure on the landing. Click on the landing folder here. Okay. Then we can upload the files whichever you want. Okay. So let's put the upload, browse files, and let's take put it in my data factory, customer orders, and I'll select everything. Okay. All the files. Upload. Fine. This is one part is we are done. Fine. So now we have a storage. So if you see the hierarchy, home, the resource group. This is my resource group. This is my storage. Inside that, the container. Container is called the landing. Inside that, all the files are available. Fine. It is
Yeah.
clear up to here. Any questions? This makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, in the organization level, do you need to create all this kind of structure, Yosef?
Yes, you can. You can. Maybe the folder structure will be there for you. Maybe you need to upload it. That is
Yeah.
also possible. Okay.
Mhm.
One part I think I missed it. um, that I want to show it when I will create another storage account. But when you go to the storage account, right, there is an option called show deleted objects, show deleted blobs. Okay. So there is a soft delete option is there. What is the soft delete? Suppose somehow accidentally if you select this and you deleted this file. Okay, let's try to delete this file. Now this is there. So by default, the soft delete will be there for the 7 days. Okay. In a sense, if you click on this, it will show you the deleted items which you have deleted. This will be for the 7 days only. Okay. Beyond 7 days, if you want to do the soft delete, then you need to pay some amount to the Azure. Okay. That I'll show you where into this configure this option. I forgot while creating the storage account. But this option is for the default is 7 days. I'll select this and I'll select undelete. So what will happen is again it will come to the options. Okay. So this is called the soft delete option. Make sense?
Hmm. Kind of restoring. Okay.
So kind of thing.
Yeah,
So
yes
this
it.
is called whatever. Now this is the item we created. Now we need to create a data lake storage, and under that I need to create 4 folders: raw, cleans, static, sorry, structure, and analytics. This is a data lake storage. Okay. So how to create a data lake storage? Let's again open up the storage accounts. I have already a ST order. Okay. Then I will create another storage here, and I need to use the resource group as this one. Make sure that you are selecting the proper resource group because everything should be there on this resource group. If you go to the resource group, you will see everything there. Okay, make sense?
Yeah.
Now on the this one, I will say what I will give the name because the name itself is not taking up actually for me.
ST orders.
Hmm?
I think
Yeah,
ST
this one.
orders item.
Yeah, I'll do that. So ST storage orders 004. Maybe it should be ST order 004 and I will select my region. Again, I will select my local attendant. Okay. Then I will go to next. Then here was the option. Here, if you want to create now a data lake storage, you need to enable this. Then only it will be create a data lake storage. Otherwise, not. Okay. Now, sister Azure files. Soft delete option is where maybe anyway, I will check it out later. Working data protection. Yeah, yeah, here. If you see the enable soft delete for containers default is to be 7 days. Okay, which was I showed in the first. Remember, right? If I delete something, it will be available for the 7 days. And if you want to change more, then you need to pay the amount for that. Fine?
Hmm. Okay.
Okay. Next, next, let's review it. Create. So now let me go to the resource group again. The resource groups. Click on the resource group now. Let me see. If you do two accounts are there. Okay. It looks like both are same, but this is a data lake storage and this is a blob storage. How? Let's see. Let's click on this now. 004 storage account. Here, it will be this part will be activated. This was not the case earlier. Let's go to the here again. And if you click on the str order items, right, you will not able to see the data lake storage here. It will be blob services, security, file services, networking, all these things, right? But when you click on the other one, str orders 004, we'll have another, this is called data lake storage. So this qualifies as a data lake storage, and the containers will be, the icons will be changed. It is like a hierarchical namespace is enabled, and the containers also will be like this, like a cylindrical symbol. Just check it out. How the containers here is just like a normal, right? Blob storage. This is the symbol for the blob, whereas this is for your. Okay, makes sense. Now, what will you do? Now click on the containers here. Now I can create some contents. So the first content I want to create is for the raw, AW. This capital will not work, sorry, small. Create, okay. I'll create another container here. This is called my cleansed. Create. Then I will create another container here, which is called structure. Structure. Then I will create another container which is called analytics. Now your job is to what exactly you want to do it here. That's it. So I will go to my resource group. Let's see. And I will open first my blob storage. This is my blob storage, right? If I go to my containers, the landing page, I have this data, right? And from this, if I right click on this and open up the other storage account, which is my data lake one, and where if I click on the containers, I just have these are the folders. Now our job is to take the files from here, whatever the file as it is from the blob storage, and we need to put it inside the raw folder on the data lake storage. Not upload, but from here I need to do something so that it will be automatically come up here. Okay, so that part is called your Azure data factory. Okay, so this part, moving of this file, whatever the file I have, to my raw folder as it is, I need to create. So that part is called the, you can do through the ADF. Okay, so this is called the ADF. So let's see how we can set up the ADF so that it will read this data and write it to this folder under the data. Okay, make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do it. So how to activate your data factory here? So we need to write the data factories. Search for the data factory. The services name is called the data factories. Okay, click on the data factories here. I already have a data factories is there, but I will create a new one for you. So let's create a new data factory. This is also a resource. Okay, and under the resource group, again we need to select this. So everything will be under that. Now This resource group contains how many things? One storage called the blob storage. Second one is the data lake storage. Third, we are creating a data factory. So three resources available under the one resource group. Make sense?
Yeah.
You are good on this?
Yes, yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So I'm giving a name to this. So let's take what name I'll give it. ADF file set. Okay. And now the region again I will select where I can have a choice of what. Yeah. See this region is not available. So we need to select out the either of that. See South Central is South India. Okay. Now the version is V2. Next, this is I will discuss later. This is the Git configuration. Git, you know, right? GitHub.
Yeah.
What is GitHub?
Like it's a kind of a version control where we can store, push,
Hmm.
or pull the data.
Hmm. Sure. So like that only. So it is somehow like the version control only, but we will see how to set it up later. If I go to here, I will say the configure Git later. Later I will do it. Next, the networking and point is next. I'm just going with the default only. Next, review and create. So it will take some time to create your data factory resources. Once it is created, no need to create multiple data factory. Okay, one is enough. There could be in real time there could be multiple, but one is enough for you. So resource groups. Now if I click on the resource groups, I already have the two storage and definitely one ADF also will come, but it will take some time. I think yeah. Now the ADF is coming. This is called the data factory. Make sense? How the hierarchy is going on. Correct?
Yeah.
Now click on this ADF or the data factory, and we have the launch studio. This is called the Azure Data Factory Studio. If you launch it, it will open up another page where you can do your work. Fine. So this is your basic of your Azure Data Factory. Let me show you this. It's clear, right? It's visible. It's
Yeah.
visible, right, on the
Yes.
screen. Okay.
Yes,
So
sir.
this is called the ADF environment. Here there are multiple options I have. Just expand it. So these are the three options. Home page, whatever you are doing it, that will be available. But most important are three tabs. One is the author tab, one is the monitor tab, and one is the manage tab. Okay. So very important these tabs are. So here, first of all, how to create a data factory. So my job is to take the data from this storage, which is nothing but my blob storage, and I want to put it inside to mine. Where is the other one? Let me open. Sorry, this I need to take it. Okay, Hmm, I didn't open that. What is the other one? Order. One second. This is the str order items. Okay, I need to open the str 0 for us. Sorry, let me open that. So this is the str04 where I need to put it inside this row.
Mhm.
Make sense? So from here I need to copy the data and I need to transfer the data into this folder strd004 using your ADF. Okay. So here the first thing first, the storage account is there already. I have two storage accounts, but I need to create how things will work. Okay. Let me put it the ADF. So in the ADF way, right, first of all thing is you need to create a linked service. Let me put it in this way. So the first will be my source linked service. Going to create. Okay. Then we need to create a data set, source data set, sorry, data set. And finally, we need to create the same one for the target as well, the target linked service. Then we need to say the target dataset. And in between these two, right, your ADF pipelines, the logics, which will take the data from the source and put it into the target. So this is the way your ADF works. Okay. What is a link service? Link service is nothing but the connection detail where you want to store it. And based on that, we can create a dataset out of that. So let's create it a link. So whenever you are on the home page, and if you want to create a linked services, you need to put the manage tab. Click on the manage tab on the linked services. This one. And to create a link. Okay. Here you can select what kind of my source. What will be my source? Which one is my source in this case? Hello?
Mm.
Tell me.
When source is data blob storage.
Blob storage, right? From
Yeah,
the blob we are planning to take to the Gen 2. Okay.
data.
So this is blob, this is Gen 2. So the first source will be my blob storage. Exactly. Okay. Okay. I need to give a name for this billing services here. Okay. Just give a proper name. I say ls underscore then I say storage underscore orders. Okay. Then leave it about this one. That this is integration runtime. Integration runtime is something like it will provide the infrastructure to run the flow for the ADF. Okay. By default, it is taking this runtime. You can create a new integration runtime that we will see later in the stage, not right now. But let's take the default one, and we'll discuss about this as well. The authentication type, how to use the Azure keyboard, which is quite important. That also we'll see later. Now, after that, I need to select the subscription. I'll select the first option. I'll select the storage account, which is my storage account in this case, the blobs one, first
Stored
one, this one,
item.
right?
Yeah.
This is my blob storage, right? Then I can parameters that one. We'll see that later. To the link service to the file. Test connection to the file path because I want to create a test connection to the file path. Not like that's fine to the link service and click on the test connection and connection is getting successful. Okay, and we created a first one. This is my the source one. So source link services is getting created. Same way, just create a target link services. So click on the new, and this time the source would be my Azure data lake storage is to, because from the blob I want to move it to the bin, right?
Yeah.
And this name I will say ls underscore
The
dl.
naming convention should start with LS, right? For everything like resource group or I mean like
No,
RS.
no, no. L, this is a link service, so that's why I'm putting ls. If
Yeah,
it is
yeah.
doing
I
a
mean,
resource group,
whatever,
RG.
yeah, wherever we are creating, that name should start with that letters.
Correct. This will easier for you to understand, right?
Mm.
Storage account name. This will be my str order 004, right? This is my target, right?
Yeah.
Test connection successful. Create. So now I have one data log storage into one is a blob storage. This is my source. This is my target. Those two parties done. Link services and my target link services. Now I need to create a data sets. So for the data sets, I need to go to author, click on the data sets, and here click on the new data sets. Okay. So on the new data sets, what kind of data sets is this? Blob, right? The first one will be blob. Correct?
Yeah.
Azure blob storage. And what kind of file it is? Let's take all are delimited. Okay. You can select anything, archive file, all these things, but let's start with the delimited file. Fine? Delimited file, then the name. Okay. Name I'm giving as, let's suppose, data source, data set underscore landing, because it is there on the landing folder. Then let's say order underscore main items. This is my name. And what is the link service for this? Automatically it's taking. See? If I selecting the blob storage, automatically the link services are coming where you store the blob only. It is not giving you the data lake intro. Okay. Select it. Then my first row is header. Yes, my first row is in header. I need to select the file. From which file I want to click on the landing. Okay. And suppose I want to select so, one second. File name I'm not giving. Let's take only the directory I'm selecting. Root folder. Landing. Okay. I'm taking all the files from the landing. Okay. Then I don't want to import any schema. I just want to put it because the hierarchy is something like I want to take complete file, the raw file, and I want to put it here without any schema changes in it. Okay. So for that I'm saying done here. Okay. Now okay here. Okay. I, this is the first one we created it. Next I will create another data set here, new data set, which is nothing but my Azure data lake. Continue. Again the delimited text here. Continue. And I will give a name. I'm just going a little bit fast because already we've done it. Okay. So I say ds underscore raw. In the raw folder I want to put it order underscore items. Okay. And this time I will select mine list here. Yes, mine. I will select the folder where I want to store it inside the raw, right? And I need to give some file. Hmm. Some, something like that. Okay. I will not run this today, but this is the way you can just create it. Txt supports order.txt. Mm, I've not found it. Right? Okay. So now there are two data set got created. Now finally, we need to use the logic on the Pythons. That we will do tomorrow, not now. But always when you done it in the ADF, right? If you want to save it, if you just close it out, it will not save. Again, you will come and you need to do everything. So always do publish and publish. So that what happen is your items, whatever the things you have done it, everything will be saved for the next time when it comes. Okay. I think today's will be much more than that. So just go through all the process, the videos, and let it do up to here. Okay. I will just upload all this file right now so that you can work on it. Fine.
Yeah. Sir, like how much time it will take to get the recordings? It was totally new,
It
sir.
will take
So
it will take time because I'm busy, right?
yeah, sir.
It's not like 1 hour, 2 hour I can do.
Hmm. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.